Welcome. This presentation is presented by the Office of Special Education and Early Learning in the Kentucky Department of Education. This module covers transportation planning for Individual Education Program, or IEP, and Least Restrictive Environment, or LRE. The videos in this series may be used as a training tool to support school districts when planning and implementing transportation for students with disabilities. The video series is intended to be used in conjunction with the Guidance for Special Transportation in Kentucky document linked here that covers a variety of topics relating to transporting students with disabilities, including those covered in the Special Transportation 101 training videos. Under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, the United States Department of Education has said that it is assumed that most students with disabilities will receive the same transportation provided to non-disabled students consistent with the least restrictive environment, or LRE, requirements, unless the IEP, or Individual Education Program team, determines otherwise. LRE may be a lot of things, but it's not placing each and every student with a disability who needs special transportation on a special school bus. Many students with disabilities can effectively access special transportation through accommodations and supports provided to them on a regular school bus. An Admissions and Release Committee, or ARC, should always consider first whether the student's needs can be successfully met through regular transportation before placing a student in more restrictive mode of transportation, such as a special school bus, contracted vehicle, or even a board-owned vehicle. Factors that the ARC should consider should be, can regular transportation be effectively and appropriately implemented with supplemental aids and services, or SAS? Also, do the advantages of the student riding in regular transportation outweigh the benefits of a more restrictive transportation arrangement? And also, are there any negative effects to the student or other students on the vehicle if the student rides in regular transportation? These are all factors the ARC should consider. Transportation decisions should be individualized, not automatic. Most students with disabilities should be considered for transportation alongside their non-disabled peers, with accommodations and supports on a regular school bus whenever appropriate, while specialized transportation is provided only when determined necessary by the ARC or 504 team. Unless there is a legitimate non-discriminatory reason for it, requiring students with disabilities to ride in segregated special education buses may violate Section 504 and the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA. Section 504 and Title II of the ADA generally prohibits separate transportation services for students with disabilities unless such separation is necessary due to a student's disability. The questions and answers document linked here includes frequently asked questions and answers regarding the requirements for serving students with disabilities eligible for transportation. Kentucky is part of the Sixth Circuit and must adhere to decisions made by the Sixth Circuit Court. So here is a Sixth Circuit unique needs test. In the McNair versus Oak Hills case, a student with a hearing impairment eligible for services under IDEA was enrolled in a private school by her parents. They requested transportation from the Oak Hill School District, which was denied. Although the district provided transportation to other non-public school students over 2 miles away, it argued that the student didn't need special transportation and the private school wasn't part of the state special education system. A hearing officer sided with the parents, but the decision was overturned on appeal. The district court ruled transportation wasn't required under IDEA in this case. The district court magistrate concluded that the district was only required to provide related services necessary to permit the student to benefit from special education, and transportation was not a related service in this student's individualized situation, and stated the regulations require these four factors or the unique needs test. The student is handicapped, the transportation is a related service, that the related service is designated to meet the unique needs of the student caused by the disability, and the school district must be responsible under the Education for All Handicapped Children Act, an IDEA, and its regulations for providing the related services. Taking in mind the unique needs test we just discussed and the least restrictive environment, or LRE, the ARC should discuss, does the student require transportation to benefit from their educational program? Specific factors that they should consider include the student's mobility or the student's behavior, which may require reviewing behavior plans or even strategies, possibly goals and such in the IEP. The student's communication skills, which might include addressing training needed for bus staff on using communication systems during transportation, and also the student's physical needs, which may include medical. Some other factors that might be included are the student's age. Consider, who will the student be riding the bus with? Also, the student's ability to follow directions, especially taking into consideration emergency situations. And what about the distance the student will need to travel? How long will the student be required to be on the bus? Will that have any type of harmful effect for the student? And also the nature of the area, such as where they are being picked up or dropped off. To reiterate, transportation decisions should be individualized, not automatic. Most students with disabilities should be considered for transportation alongside their non-disabled peers, with accommodations and supports on a regular school bus whenever appropriate, while specialized transportation is provided only when determined necessary by the ARC or 504 team. Now let's talk about some supports and resources that are available. When a bus driver or transportation staff member observes that a student with a disability is exhibiting recurring behavioral issues on the school bus, they should report this behavior to the school principal or the district's transportation director. The district's transportation director may need to share concerns with a preschool coordinator or the district's director of special education or the 504 coordinator for guidance. It's important for districts to have processes and procedures in place for transportation staff and in building administrators to know what steps to take next. In many cases, the special education director or the 504 coordinator will need to be informed of the concerns in order to address them appropriately through an ARC or 504 team meeting. If transportation staff are still unsure or need additional help, any district staff may contact the KDE Pupil Transportation Branch in the Division of District Support, or they can contact the Office of Special Education and Early Learning Guidance and Support Branch for additional help. Districts also have access to the Special Education Regional Technical Assistance Centers, known as SERTACs, for assistance and training and additional support. As mentioned previously, ARC teams must address behavior needs in a variety of settings, which includes transportation. There is a video series on effective classroom strategies for students with disabilities on the Behavior Resources page on the KDE Media Portal. Strategy 9 of the series includes a video on strategies to support school bus behavior. More information on special education, IEPs, and special transportation, as well as contact information for the Guidance and Support Branch, is available on the ARC and IEP page of the KDE website.
Thank you for what you do to keep our students safe.